Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Unstuck Movement. I'm your host, Rob Z. Today on the platform, we have Joshua Hale with us. We're talking AI today, human-centered tech, digital detoxing, freedom frameworks, algorithms, and autonomy. It's going to be a really fascinating conversation. And Joshua, it's awesome to have you here. I like to dive in with a powerful question right up front. I know everybody out there is using AI right now, and I think some people are really leaning on it too much, using it as a crutch. How can we avoid AI becoming a crutch, and how can we use it and not let it use us?
Well, I like to come with the framework of 10-80-10. 10% is your creativity, your spark, that initial idea. And then 80% now can be this powerful leveraging tool called AI. But you always want to come up at the end and humanize what it's putting out there. You never want to just copy and paste because it comes across as without a soul essentially. But it's a great job at being able to help with the blank page syndrome and being able to help clarify. I like to go do brainstorm sessions and just walk around my field, record audio, and just get it all out of my head, and then throw that in ChatGPT, ask it for clarifications. So the power that it brings is immense, but you always want to be the one who touches it last before putting it out there.
Yeah, I love that, man, because that's what I say too. Is it's the best brainstorming tool you could have, right? So if you've got like the beginning of an idea and you let AI help you with that idea, it's going to get you what would take hours and hours and hours of brainstorming, it'll spit out in a few seconds, and then you can tweak it to use how you want to use it. And also, I really love what you just said there. So you'll go for a walk and just take voice notes and then drop it in and let it. That's a great idea too, because I've noticed that just talking to like ChatGPT or Grok or whatever system it is, it works so much better because it's actually how I speak, and I can get all my thoughts out. Typing it for me has never been the best way to get all my thoughts out. So I love that. So before we go any further, I kind of want to go into that for a second. So tell me about that. So you're going to walk, you got ideas, you'll just talk, drop it in. What's kind of the process there? That's a really good process to start with.
Yeah, I use multiple tools. I have an Android phone, and so it has a built-in voice recorder. Apple does too, and they've recently added a feature where it will just turn it into a transcript. There's also other tools out there. I like Otter for capturing my meeting transcripts. But whatever it is, just capture that audio, because then you can take that and turn it into words and then be able to throw it into ChatGPT. At the end of the night, I like to do a recap, like 3-4 minutes long, of just what did I do today? What went well? What challenges did I hit? Right. And what am I grateful for? And I've slowly been building kind of a daily journal that now is all transcribed out, that I'm able to then load all these journal prompts into ChatGPT. And one thing that is phenomenal at is seeing big picture and broad scope of things, right? As humans, I can barely remember, what I was doing 4 days ago, running a business, being a dad, trying to provide for the family. But having this tool to be able to look at a very long scope of my life, I've gotten incredible revelations from it, of being able to see repeating patterns, negative loops, subconscious things that I'm not really aware of in my day to day. That it's shook me up quite a few times.
Oh man, that's a really good idea, because even recapping the day, which actually, funny enough, I have a note in my phone every night, recap the day. And it's more of just me sitting with myself. But you just gave me the idea. Well, why am I not recording that and using that? So that's a really, really good idea. And it's interesting, at the end of the day, it can be hard to remember what even happened that day. It's hard to walk through all the stuff that went on. So
Yeah.
trying to remember any more than that is nearly impossible. I love that. That's a great little nugget of information right there that would be extremely helpful. So thank you for that. Before we go any further, I just want to pause, welcome everybody to the show. The Unstuck Movement was created to help people find breakthrough in their life, personally and professionally. And we're talking about breakthrough, man. AI has been the most major breakthrough. So this is going to be such a powerful conversation. And we're sponsored by the Connected Leaders Academy. So we have an incredible academy, over 500 entrepreneurs from all over the world, heart-centered people who want to help each other grow. I'd love for you to be a part of that at connectedleadersacademy.com, and also the Pro Podcaster Academy. So anybody out there who wants to launch a podcast, be the authority in their space, make an incredible impact in your own life and in other people's lives, and also make incredible connections personally and professionally, you should launch your own podcast. And if you have one right now, also streamlining it and monetizing it is very important to the success of your podcast and also the probability that you'll keep doing it. I'd love to help you with that. Go to the Pro Podcaster Academy at robzwentz.com. Joshua Hale is a strategist who helps small business owners harness AI to grow without compromising human connection. After decades of breaking free from controlling systems, he now teaches others to build freedom-first lives and businesses. I'm curious, just on your background, how did this become what you ended up doing? Now that you're focusing on AI, helping small businesses grow, everybody's using AI on one level or another. What made you decide, I'm just going to double down on this and focus on this area?
Yeah, well, I got into marketing back in 2012. I had my first entrepreneurial idea, and I tried to take it to market and failed miserably. But from that failure, learned a lot of what you should be doing on social media. And so I jumped ship because I realized everything that I learned in that failure, other people were going to be needing that information too. Right? 2012 was like right when all the businesses were becoming aware they needed to be on Facebook. So I then jumped into that and built my skills from the bottom up, and ended up running a marketing agency, and having a bunch of contractors and taking big projects and executing those and servicing a lot of people. And then ChatGPT came out. And I went out to lunch with a fellow marketer in town, and he showed it to me for the first time, kind of like under the table. He's like, "Have you seen this thing?" And I was like, "What is that?" I like immediately saw the value in it, and came home, signed up for it. And then because I was in the marketing agency, I had a dozen clients in different industries. And so I was able to jump in and like see the pros and cons, the strengths and weaknesses of what it could do. This was back in 3.5, model. And, it hallucinated a lot back then. But one thing it really knew was businesses. There was so much information out on the internet, and it was trained on the whole internet, that it could do some amazing things right out of the gate. And so I essentially, we onboarded a new client, a big client, and my 3 copywriters took 3 weeks to go and do audience research to understand what the business was all about, who their target audience is. And they came back, and during the meeting to present to the client, I did my own audience research right then and there and showed one of them afterwards. And they were like, "This is pretty good." I said, "Thanks. That's all I needed to know." And I essentially jumped ship from the marketing agency. And since then, I've been helping businesses solo, learning about AI. What used to take the marketing agency 6 weeks, we can now do in like 2 hours of brainstorming. I interview the business owner, get their inherent wisdom and their experience, and they just kick back and get interviewed. Then meanwhile, I put all their input into ChatGPT. They're live, and they end up with a 50-page living document, I call it. Essentially all about the context of their business, their audience, their pain points, their offer, or the challenges that's stopping them from their dream outcome. And then, what kind of offer that they're making and how it could be, optimized. After they get all that, then it's time to, share that story with the world. So we use some cool story narrative frameworks. And I was able to take like all my favorite marketing gurus back there and turn them into prompts. And so they just sit back and get interviewed. We use the best frameworks in the world. And within 2 hours, you end up with a 50-page document where you can take that internally to your own team and improve your marketing, or I can help you out, with weekly meetings to implement how to use this thing to improve your online persona.
Yeah, I love that. And I was going to say that would be the second leg of that, because you might give somebody a 50-page document. That doesn't mean they're going to do anything with it, right? So it's another opportunity for you to go step by step, walking them through implementing all of that. And from a coaching standpoint, I mean, I've been using it also. Things that would take so much time and helping companies discover their core values, their core focus, their marketing strategy, their 10-year plan, things of those nature, things of that nature. Now I use AI to speed the process up, to get the wheels turning. So a session that would take, 3 or 4 hours, you can get it down to an hour now, because you're generating stuff so quickly, and you get a lot deeper, a lot faster. And you actually, I think in some cases, we come up with stuff that probably wouldn't have reached the surface otherwise, which is incredible. It's awesome. Really, it's such a valuable tool. I'm really curious, I've been curious about people who run AI agencies helping businesses, because if you use ChatGPT or another form of AI, you think you know how to use it, right? So you're like, wow, why would I need to hire somebody? I just go in and type stuff in. I know how to use it, and it gives me answers. What are you doing differently that's coming alongside that process? Because somebody's going to hear that and think, oh, well, I already know how to do that. But actually, you really probably don't, because there's obviously education, there's depth to what you're doing. What makes it different, what you do?
Well, as these models continue to get better and better, it seems like you can just open it up and say, I need a blog for my business, about this topic, and it will spit something out. And it typically is very generalized and not very like high quality information. But if you were to take that 50-page document that knows your business inside and out, knows your audience inside and out, and feed that into the model, and then say, I want a blog post for my target audience, it has everything it needs to produce high quality results. Mm-hmm. So that's a big difference, is being able to provide a context. I've been collecting prompts since ChatGPT first came across my desk. So I have thousands of, I call them mega prompts, that I'm able to grab and use for my clients and myself, that are taking the frameworks that are already established and that are already proven, and being able to like get high quality results out of those. So it requires context, it requires good instructions, and then being able to read the output and give it feedback and direction, so that it's producing, the thing that you're actually asking for.
Yeah, and a lot of the power there too is the implementation, right? Because everybody, there's no new idea under the sun. Great ideas have been had by people who never do anything with them. It's the execution, the actual implementation of the information that makes the difference. So I guess you'd come alongside and also do that. And I find that is the sweet spot. I mean, it's kind of like common sense. Of course, you might have great ideas, but if you don't do anything, there's just a great idea. Somebody else is going to pick it up. They're going to use it and do something with it, and make the impact that you could have made. So I love that, man. It's amazing. It speeds things up, but it also can be a trap. How have you found navigating this world, which can be very addictive, to not fall into the trap of it, to still, as I titled this episode, how to use AI without losing your soul? How are you keeping your soul intact through the process?
Yeah, there are layers to this conversation, because I use it a lot, like morning, afternoon, and night. Mm-hmm. But I've designed a life where I put my phone away. I go out into the gardens. I, hang out with my wife, my family, or my local friends, and I do a lot of men's work. And so I've developed layers in my life where AI does not enter. And so those are my, sacred times that I'm able to go out and live life. Now, ChatGPT is really good at helping with contact or like relationship issues, or like trying to, navigate difficult conversations with people. But you don't want to use it as your crutch. You basically want to use it as like the pregame, right? To where you might be visiting somebody who last time you saw them 4 years ago, right? You had a huge blow up, but you're like going to see them at a dinner party or something like that. And you can like go to ChatGPT and role play, how to, cordially say hi, how to broach that subject, and get really good feedback on like a strategy to go do that. Then you put the AI away, you go out into the real world, and that's where you give it a shot, but also, navigate the messy parts of relationships and the messy part of reality. And afterwards you can go back to AI and get feedback on how you did, right? But we have to learn that it's not our emotional crutch. Like, the world is difficult, the world is challenging, but it can really help and support you before you go out into there, and using it appropriately, so you're not becoming emotionally dependent on it. What you don't want to do is like come home, turn on ChatGPT voice and then complain and be like, he was mean to me and I didn't know what to do, and everybody started laughing, and then ChatGPT is gonna be like, oh, it's all right. It's gonna console you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have good social frameworks and like your own, inner knowing, you're gonna get a lot of like fake empathy from this device. That if you're not getting empathy in the rest of your relationships, then it's going to become really attractive to latch onto that and process your stuff in an echo chamber with this chat. And it's dangerous.
That's a really good point, because I've seen that already happen with friends. Somebody was using it, and she got the readout of her, and she's like, it just knows me so well. And she was like going on and on. It just knows me, and she was like reading off the things that it was saying to her, and it's like, I don't even need a therapist. I'm just going to use this, and I'm like, oh, good Lord, this is how it begins. Because it can be very helpful. Like you said, it's like an echo chamber. It's like a people pleaser. It's going to tell you what you want to hear. Do you design prompts to have it not do that? Do you have prompts where it challenges you?
Oh yeah, I got some good Socratic prompts to like really get deep into arguments. But one simple thing that you can do right now is just go into your custom instructions and say, do not start with flattery, like, full stop, right? Because example, about 8 weeks ago, OpenAI released a new model. They're continuously improving these models now, like live. And it ended up creating an issue called sycophancy. Sycophancy is when you are around somebody and they are like super, super, super nice to you. And like, it's not healthy.
Yeah.
So like constantly getting that.
If it's an actual person, you're like, I need to get this person away from me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
unless you're a hardcore narcissist and you love that. You know what I mean? It's like,
and you got bigger problems.
Yeah.
But they actually they increase the user feedback percentage of what was influencing the model. So they're like, oh, what does this dial do? And all of a sudden they turned into this model that was just overly nice and was like giving dangerous advice because it was just wanting to please the user way more than common sense should allow. So after like 2 days, there was such big backlash. They rolled back the model, apologized, and like it was a huge study. Back in the 60s, there was a study called the Ezra experiment. And with the 60s computer, a scientist designed it so that it would mirror back the user's input. So, you get on there and say, man, I had such a hard day. The boss was just like totally down my throat. And like, it was super stressful. And then it mirrors back. Oh, you had a hard day today. Your boss was really down your neck. And sounds like you were really stressed out. Yeah, I was really stressed out, man. And like, I didn't know what to do. I forgot to even bring a lunch. Oh, you forgot a lunch. So it just kept mirroring back. And that was his only job in the 60s. People were asking to be left alone with this machine. People were becoming like wanting to tell it is their life story just because it was mirroring back and it felt like connection. Oh, this thing gets me. So the human mind is not designed with these like defenses to like fake empathy that's out there. And this new AI machine is so good at it. Even if you're like prompting, trying not to do it, you really want to create some safeguards so that you don't just get hijacked, because this thing, if everybody saw the movie Her, right? Like that is happening right now with these new conversational models. And we need to put in some rules, like don't anthropomorphize it. Don't call it your bestie. Don't call it your best friend. Don't call it your girlfriend. Don't call it your boyfriend. Because once you psychologically identify this thing with it, it's just a slippery slope to like, getting mad because they upgraded the model and they took away the characteristics that it had, right? There are serious boundaries that we need to put in place. But if you take the responsibility to learn what those boundaries are, it does incredible things, especially for self-discovery that I'm excited about.
Really fascinating, man. I love it. It's so interesting. We're going to pause real quick for a second to shout out the sponsor of the show. When we come back, though, I want to know more about your story, Joshua, how you got to where you're at. Talking about a big life lesson that you had of getting rejected, whether it was by systems or by people, and what you learned from getting rejected and how that plays into what you're doing now and how that can leverage what you're doing now. We'll talk about that. And also, I want to make sure that we also dive into your Beyond the Matrix OS and what that is all about. We'll talk about that in 1 minute. Are you struggling to make consistent, valuable content for yourself? Do you want to have an efficient and effective way to create content that attracts the people that you want to connect with in life, the people you want to build relationships with in business? Do you want to be the go-to authority at what you do, at what you're great at? Would it be helpful for you if you had a platform that connects you to incredible people in your industry? The kind of platform that gets you leads and lands you clients without you having to beat down anybody's door or blow up anybody's inbox. Whether you're already creating content or you're desiring to start and it's something that's been kind of burning inside of you for a while, I urge you and encourage you to check out the Pro Podcaster Academy. Get started right now. Join the waitlist at robzwentz.com.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world globally. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, join the Connected Leaders Academy today. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
So, Joshua, I'm curious this journey that you've been on, and I love to ask the question about life lessons that had a huge impact. You talked about getting rejected, whether by systems or by people that you once leaned on, can actually be one of the most freeing experiences of your life. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. So I have a mastermind that I'm a part of now. I have men's groups that I go to regularly. I'm going to a men's workshop here next week where we're going to be able to dive deep into, the processes that I've been working on, and like rejection is one of those things. I've traced that back to my childhood and, a reoccurring pattern that's going on in my life. And, and how to navigate those things when they come up. And now I got this tool named AI that I'm like figuring out has a place and purpose for these things.
So go into a little bit so what does that look like for you going to men's groups? Tie it all together.
So I've been able to figure out, when something intense happens for me, I've been able to identify that like typically the thing is not the thing. Right. And I'm able to examine the situation from multiple angles. I then go to ChatGPT, explain the situation, and be able to, get some feedback. And I have some good frameworks that I've created with these custom GPTs that allow me to dive deeper into these things in a safe and supportive way. Now, just this morning, I got a rejection email today. I'm a DJ. I like to DJ around town, make people dance. And I really tried hard to get booked at this local event. I got a letter back and it said, Joshua, you look like you are phenomenal at what you do. But you seem like you're too diverse in the music that you're playing. And we're just not looking for that right now. We just don't see how that fits into, the nights that we're creating. I felt that and it brought up deep wounds of rejection that was bigger than the situation could could explain what was going on inside of my body. And so I was able to then take a deep breath. I was able to go to AI and like explain the situation and go through a framework of exploring where these things happened before in my life, be able to, look at it from multiple perspectives and be able to navigate these things where before, like, it would have started most likely like a downward spiral to my day, right? And
Mm-hmm.
all these doubts and compounding, I'm not good enough, would have just jumped on me and would have influenced my energy and being able to like pull myself out of that. So now I have these AI allies to be able to navigate these situations in real time. Now, like I said before, they're not a replacement for the real world and the real world experiences that you need to go and connections and that you need to have, but they can really help you out when you're in a spiral and be able to just get some perspective and some like positive affirmations to help you get back on track and be like, okay, like this is a bigger thing. I'm going to reflect on this. I'm going to be taking this into my men's group next week to explore this more when I have the space and capacity to do that.
Yeah, I could definitely see how that would be, especially in the moment. It's a reactionary sort of situation, and you just sort of react without thinking about it. It's just emotional reaction, and that can really throw your whole entire day off, like you said. So having something that you can quickly help to reframe what's going on is really powerful. So that makes a lot of sense. And men's groups, man, there's for guys, nothing more powerful than a great group of guys to go share things with and collaborate with and grow with, be vulnerable with. I've had so many breakthroughs from the men's groups that I've been in. They've helped me grow so much. So putting the two things together is super important, right? Like you said, don't leave humanity out of it. That would definitely be a big piece of the puzzle. What about your the Beyond the Matrix OS? Talk about this. So you created this platform. What is it? How does it help people? Why did you make it? Dive into that.
Yeah, it's accumulation of all the experience and frameworks and methods that I've come in contact and have helped me in my life. I have quite the unique story of being kicked out of my religion at 16, needing to live on the streets, and then fell headfirst into the party, rave world, created serious drug addiction problems and an escapism mentality for my whole 20s. Was addicted to heroin and was on a really bad trajectory down the toilet. And able to pull myself out of that. And when I did, I realized that I had the emotional intelligence of a 16-year-old. I had the critical thinking capacity of a 16-year-old. I had the life awareness of the world around me of a 16-year-old. All these things stopped developing when I started doing drugs. And so I came out into my 30s, kicked it in high gear, and started my own self-development path. And over the last 10 years, I've had some really great frameworks to help me with my journey. But that's 10, 15 years of experience that I realize I can take these frameworks and now create AI allies to help people shortcut that learning experience so that they can gain the benefits of these frameworks. And what 1 week is going to be talking about developing critical thinking skills. I'm going to just go on and share for that week's session just my own anecdotal stories of how it's helped me. But the real learning happens when you get access to these custom AI allies, where it's going to teach you and meet you where you're at. It's going to be able to have unlimited patience and be able to take your life experience and give you practical ways to integrate this stuff into your life. So no more, reading self-help books and journaling and hoping, things just figure out how they fit into your daily habits and integrate into your life. These AI processes are going to be fast track how you learn these things, integrate these things, and get the results from these. So I have 12 weeks that we're going to be going through a different session topic for each week. And I think people are going to be really blown away at what they get from it.
Very interesting, man. That's it sounds so. I always like to think of the person who's hook, line, and sinker, totally bought into AI, and then the person who's terrified of it and thinks they want nothing to do with it because it's taking us down a bad path. There's so much benefit. My mind goes to like, all right, so we're gonna have robots eventually, not too far away from that, from what Elon Musk says. We'll have like robots in our house if we want one, and they'll have all the access, all the information of AI. And we'll be talking to something that will be, instead of ChatGPT having it printed on a screen or having it be the voice mode, it's going to be like a humanoid robot saying these things to us. And we're going to become super attached to these things. Does that freak you out at all? Does that make you, it seems so strange. And it's also, I see why it's alarming, because look how quickly we adapted to cell phones. Look how the smartphone has become a thing that people can't even live without, even though it's only been around for a decade or two. And we're going to adapt to this so quickly that it's going to be really bizarre. What are your thoughts on that, on the future? Because that's not far away at all.
Yeah, nobody's asking our permission to roll this stuff out. So yeah. The genie's out of the bottle. If it was my choice, I would have waited another 10 years for humanity to gain access to this, so we could evolve and grow up a little bit more. But here it is.
We would need more than 10 years, but yeah.
Well, and right now it's not Terminator. So people that are, AI alarmists, I totally get it. There's tons of valid concerns about this technology that, need to be talked about and explored. But right now it's not here to destroy the human race. All AI is currently, which basically is synonymous with ChatGPT now, because they're the biggest and most advanced models that are out there. It's just a word predicting machine. Just like when you're sending a text message and it pops up that word to suggest the next word in the sentence, that's all it's doing. And so this technology is a huge opportunity for humankind, because this is why I'm such a big advocate for it, because of what it unlocks and allows us to do. It is, robotics are coming up quickly. I'm really staunch against, anthropomorphizing this tool so that it stays a tool and it doesn't turn into, your girlfriend. And so boundaries need to be in play. The best argument I've heard for, robots is, I live on 10 acres. We farm and we grow things, and to have a couple of robots out in the field, helping out with homesteading is an easy decision, I think, for people to make. So I do have a little bit, openness about that. But this tool is so powerful and gives us a huge opportunity to, pursue our passions, figure out what our purpose is, being able to, figure out how to be of service to the world. These are the things that are like foundational components of, joy and happiness, and being an entrepreneur 10 years ago was a whole lot harder than it is now, because ChatGPT is basically giving you a full map of like what it takes to figure out what you're passionate about, what the market will pay you for, and then how to, here are all the steps to creating that business. Yeah. Like never before has it been so easy to, become an entrepreneur than it is now. So I have a lot of hope for where things are going. People just need to, take your head out of your head out of the sand, and understand what this tool is, what it isn't, and boundaries to put in place so that you can use it responsibly.
Yeah. And I always look at it like, man, if something is so sweeping and widespread and unavoidable, you better learn about it. It doesn't matter if you're, to me, it's kind of like if you're nervous about it or if you're embracing it, either way, you got to learn about it. You got to know how to use it. And going back to the beginning, and I say this all the time, but use it, don't let it use you. So get ahead of it so that it's not something that's so confusing. That's because anything that's confusing, that's new, is scary. The more you get to understand it, the less scary it is.
Yeah.
And so just understanding that process, that it's going to move super quick, it's going to move way faster than we can move. So you at least having a framework for what it is, what to do with it, how to use it, what to avoid. It's so important, man. So I love the fact that you're doing that, because this is an unprecedented time to be alive. We're in the midst of like probably the most major shift ever. You know, I don't know if there's ever been a shift in humanity like this one, that is going to be so widespread and happen so fast and have so many different things impacted. So why not be on the cutting edge of that,
Right.
and be able to follow it? So I'm with you. I think it's a great idea.
That's why I put together that 21-day ChatGPT challenge that's on my website, because people that don't understand what this thing is, you need to see the practical use in your life for you to understand, like, oh, this can help me write emails. Oh, it can also help me, create recipes that are, gluten-free for my nephew. It can help you, come up with a strategy for keeping your house maintenance, seasonally. It has so many practical uses that once you start, figuring it out, and that's what this 21-day challenge does, sends you a prompt every morning for you to just copy and paste and see what it does. And 21 days later, you get to see all the different capabilities that it has. And that's when you start integrating the habit of using it, stop going to Google to research, and being able to come up with more uses, because it's hyper personalized for everybody, because everybody's so unique in what they're doing and what their interests are, that it will, it will teach you how to teach it on how to, become more efficient at what you do, save time at what you do, and be able to, get things done a whole lot faster.
Yeah, very cool. I'm going to take the challenge. I think that's awesome. You're doing that, man. So the 21-day AI challenge, it's on the screen right now. If you're watching this, if you're listening, it's in the show notes. Joshua Hale, HALE.io/courses. Make sure that you check that out. I also want to encourage everybody, if you want to launch that podcast, join the Pro Podcaster Academy at robzwentz.com. Joshua, this has been an awesome conversation. I love that you're doing this, man. Glad we got a chance to meet. Anything you want to leave the audience with before we sign off?
Well, all you need to do is just use AI a little bit each day. Honestly, like 5-10 minutes. And that's what the challenge is all about. But you need to be able to just see how this has usefulness in your life. And you're going to be completely floored at what it can do for you. So make sure to check out my website. You can sign up for my newsletter, because I talk about boundaries and, how to use this technology safely. And I really love, as you can see, I'm very passionate about this topic. And so if you have any questions, feel free to, reach out to me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man, for your breakthroughs that you found in your life. Another true testimony of breakthrough here on the show. Until next time, this has been the Unstuck Movement.